All right, you guys about to... I've been recording this whole time just in case we just felt like going, so...
Oh boy.
You know.
We pretty much just been shooting the shit already.
Cut it out, cut it out. We'll cut that part out, don't worry about it.
Cut it out.
Cut it out and fucking post.
Post.
In
post.
Cuts it everything after it out. Now wait a minute.
All right. It's some movies. Yeah, this is the Dancer's Paradise podcast, and we watched Dangerous Men, which is a straight from Wikipedia 2005 action American thriller film written, directed, and produced by not that name under the pseudonym of John S. Rad. 21 years to make it release. It was an experience. Started production in '84. It finished 21 years later, and it's a fucking mess.
You totally just have the wiki up, don't you?
I absolutely have the wiki up. You think I'm smoking crack? What you talking about?
The wiki summary.
Straight from Wikipedia.
Yeah. What am I gonna like remember this? It's such a... The movie goes nowhere, yet it goes everywhere. Like, how am I supposed to remember it?
Like, the thing about Dangerous Men 2 is, like, when you actually, like, try to describe the plot to the movie, kind of sounds interesting. Like, you have a couple, Mina and Daniel, right? That are about to be engaged. They go on a trip to the beach together, and they're assaulted by two bikers that are trying to sexually assault Mina. Daniel defends her, kills one of the bikers, but ends up being killed by the other. And Mina retaliates and kills the other biker and basically goes on a killing spree, trying to kill other potential rapists, quote unquote, and is chased by the police across the country.
I mean, that's the first quarter of the movie, and
Dude, it goes nowhere real fast.
There's just so much stupid shit in between. Like, even the bikers showing up to the beach, they just roll up like they're two fucking Hell's Angels, and they go, it's time to just go hang out at the beach and find somebody to rape. Like, it's fucking awful.
Yeah, it's done very strangely. Like, it's not executed at all. This is just done terribly. But you can see the idea of what it was trying to do. But then the big problem is, because it took 21 years, the second half of the movie just goes somewhere completely different.
They use
Mina.
Well, they figured out how to end Mina's arc in one scene, 3/4 of the way in the movie for 5 minutes.
Dude, it was not even like mentioned. It was mentioned offhand. It was like, oh.
But let's try to go through the movie, and I don't even know what we try to find.
Where did it start? It starts off with like they're getting engaged, right? And she's...
Oh no, before that.
Oh,
Before that, there was remember that opening, that beautiful opening of the waters crashing onto the rocks that went on for like
fucking Toe Jam and Earl
minutes, and then ended with that CGI explosion on the screen. Oh, it was beautiful. And then just opens. I don't know if they're on a set or something, but the first scene we actually see is just literally just the front door to a house. And it's completely pitch black except for a spotlight. Like, it's literally a spotlight just shined directly onto the door. It looks terrible.
It's fantastic. And then you get the shoe shots, the Neil Green famous 2 feet walk-in.
Yeah, the camera's just following the guy's feet just as he walks forward the whole time. It's
also like 80 seconds of continuous walking before we get anywhere.
It is. I'm starting to notice this like trend of they're driving for 5 minutes or they're walking for 5 minutes in all these terrible movies, and they think they're great cinematographers, and they feel so their egos are huge. But then you just watch 5 minutes of the movie and you go, why? Where is this ego from? Have you never seen a movie before? Like, this is not. You could cut out all this shit.
I wonder if they think it's like building tension or something. I don't know.
You can't build tension with that soundtrack, that music. Oh my god.
That's true.
All 5 songs throughout the entire movie.
At least they were original. I'll give him that. He made his own music.
It was something. But the entire beginning part too, because I guess the idea was it was supposed to show like Mina and Daniel's relationship, but it's just so disjointed. Like it's just the same scenes, like cut up into pieces and then shuffled together. Like it just mixes or just changes between all of them a lot. And it's very weird.
There's very little linear playthrough of the movie. It's and then in between, I mean, this is not counting all the terrible audio cutting. Like there's a scene in a restaurant early on where they mute everything except them talking, and when they're talking you can hear all the background of the restaurant. And so every time they stop talking, it's dead silent, and then you hear forks clinking and stuff every time they say something. And the actual background audio is like louder than them talking.
Yeah, you can hear people having conversations in the background.
They couldn't wait till no one was there. There was no time.
Yeah, they said here's an hour.
They only
to
had
shoot
21 years, okay, Fliz?
Wasn't it actually 26?
No, it was 21.
It was 21.
When the movie came out, 2005.
215.
Yeah. It was actually re-released in 2015. It came out in 2005. Though.
Oh,
Wait, re-released?
Yep. Yeah, someone actually bought the film and re-released it in 2015. I don't
fucking
remember.
remaster it.
No, they just re-released it. I guess I don't know why.
there's a
'Cause it's
couple
a-
companies that do that.
Yeah.
Because when the film was first released, it was only released in 5 Los Angeles theaters for a week. It earned $2,238.
In 2005.
Yep.
I was going to adjust for inflation, but there's no point. That movie didn't make any money.
The best part is the Wikipedia page even states after that, at least one person saw the film 3 times.
It was John Rad.
I'm willing to bet that's why they re-released it, because you know it's a cult classic at this point. Like a lot of underground like moviegoers know about Dangerous Men. It's just so popular in certain areas. So I'm betting they re-released it in theaters, hoping to get a lot of
midnight movie mass thing.
Yeah,
that kind of shit.
It probably didn't do anything because everyone at that point had already seen it anyway.
I'd see. Here's the thing though, like it's weird and it's kind of crazy, but you know, halfway through I was checking to see how much time was left, because it was no Miami Connection, it was no Samurai Cop, it was no Neil Breen, it was just kind of there. There was a couple scenes that kept me going in the end, but yeah, midpoint where the movie changes entirely to be something different, it's like things are so strange.
The order to everything's a little funky, because it's like right after it shows Mina and Daniel, right? We get that convenience store scene. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, where the guy
They're robbing the convenience store? Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Right? You probably did. There's like almost no point except to introduce David, Daniel's
He
brother.
said his brother's a cop, yeah.
It took way too long. The scene's a mess.
well, and then you don't even see Daniel anymore until
Yeah, and then you don't see him for like a half hour. And then he's just gone.
Yeah, because after Daniel dies, it takes like also another like 35-40 minutes before you even learn David's name.
That's true. Yeah, I actually thought his name was Daniel at first.
We didn't
but I
even know
was
they were
wrong.
the different actors. Like they looked. It seems like there were a few times where they couldn't get the same actor back over the 21-year period, and they
I'm
just
sure.
like put a shot or two in. Of,
I mean, 21 years—that's a lot of time to rethink being in that movie.
it makes me want to look up like Mina's acting history and be like, what else happened? How did this work out for you? Here, you know what? I'm gonna do that. Okay, so the bikers. Okay, we're just gonna skip past that one scene because of the liquor store. Nothing really happens there. It just introduces the guy, and then we're right on to beach rape. Right?
Yep, the beach scene.
Immediately beach scene.
A very casual beach rape.
It's so strange because like the bikers were so just like nonchalant about it. They're literally just laying together on the beach, just waiting for them to walk over to them, which I don't really
That's exactly what they're doing too.
supposed
He
to
was
work.
like, because he was like, I told you they'd be coming.
Yeah, like he says, I told you they'd be coming over here, which doesn't make any sense. And then I like how Mina also knew that they were bikers too, even though they never saw them come up to them. Like
Well,
she just
know,
assumed.
This is a movie. No, go for it.
I was assuming that they heard them because they pull up right after them. So they probably heard the bikers pull in.
That's what I kind of figured. Like, there's a lot of things. If you're going to watch the movie, you got to assume a lot of things happened. Like, it's possible, but you got to fill in a lot of the blanks yourself.
I wonder what Mina and Daniel were thinking, just watching these two biker dudes go to the beach and lay down together.
Just come down and sit on the beach.
It's not like they're dressed for the beach either. They're not dressed for the beach.
They were not.
Mina has had exactly one movie credit to her name, and it is Dangerous Men.
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no.
Poor
She's
Melody
probably
Liggins.
I'm done.
The beginning and the end of a career.
It was, but it was a 21-year career.
She made a whole 350.
Then after Mina, Daniel, and the bikers, like that was the weirdest non-aggressive meeting I've ever seen. Like it was just a lot of talking that didn't really go anywhere. And there was a point where like the two separated, like they were walking off like away from each other, and the biker's like, "That bitch is hot. Let's do this." And then they just meet back up again and start fighting.
And then he actually kills the boyfriend, the fiance Daniel actually kills one of the bikers. And it's an attempted rape. The other biker doesn't get it off. He tries, obviously. And then he just walks up and stabs Daniel, which,
Yeah.
and I guess Mina, it's such a weird term because there's no crying over Daniel. There's no nothing. She immediately turns to the other biker and is like, "Hey, handsome, how you doing? Take me to a hotel room somewhere."
It was
and
like
then,
immediate.
yeah, there was no change in anything. She immediately flipped a switch, which is kind of par for the movie because a lot of people die in front of other people. There's a scene later on that's almost exactly the same kind of scene, and the woman is just standing there with like the most blank expression on her face watching two men like kill each other.
What I love about it too is even the biker, he literally says, "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you crazy?" He completely understands that this is not normal, and then he's just okay with it. Like a couple sentences later, it's amazing.
He then takes her to a steak dinner at a hotel. To which I can only imagine what their conversation over dinner was. But Mina seems to be playing this this role of trying to get in this guy's good graces, the biker who killed her fiance, and he's just buying into it because movie. And they get to their room, and then she says, "Hey, I'm gonna go take a shower. When I get out, I need you to rub my knees and lick my belly button in that order. There can be no deviation from this plan." And why in that order? Because there's a knife hidden in her butt crack.
Dude, I love the ass knife so much.
It deals poison damage.
It's gonna give him sepsis.
I feel like sepsis might not be the biggest of his issues.
He is going real hard, and there's like full frontal nudity at this point, and he's going real hard on that belly button. She stabs him a few times, and then she lets you know that, "Oh, I'm so sad about Daniel, and I killed him because he killed Daniel," and like she was all a ploy to revenge. And
it's very strange.
It's super strange. And then she just takes off running from the hotel. She doesn't even steal the bike. She just runs into the darkness from the hotel down the highway.
Right. Well, like a couple things with that though is like, I brought that up when we were watching it, and you said I think like maybe she doesn't know how to drive the motorcycle.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
And the other thing, and to be fair to them, like that they did set up in the movie, is the biker did say that he wanted to be woken up at 5 a.m. that next morning because he wanted to leave early. Mm-hmm. So she can't stay there because the people are going to come in at 5 a.m. to make sure that they're out of there. So she needs to leave like almost right away in the middle of the night.
I can understand her not staying there, but
yeah, to
not take the bike is still, you shouldn't even try.
You could have figured it out. It can't be that hard.
Yeah. Then she is immediately picked up by another rapist who She falls asleep in his truck for some reason. I'll never understand that.
Yeah, that was fucking so weird.
It's strange that she'd be so comfortable enough with this random dude after just experiencing what she did to just like, take a nap.
Well, this is another one of those things where you got to kind of like fill in. Like, she has been awake for 24 hours. She did witness and commit murders. She did she had a whole steak dinner. And then she ran for like 5 hours.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, who expects to run into that many rapists like in a row? Like two in 2
at the
days?
same time, though, I am not falling asleep in a fucking stranger's car.
He's an older guy too. Like,
and he said, I have a family and I'm nice, and he was British, and you can't be afraid of a British
and
accent.
he didn't look like a scoundrel or anything.
Scoundrel.
Yeah. Like, he just seemed like a cool dude, but apparently not.
No. Because he pulls over and then puts a gun to her and says, I deserve this, or something along those lines. What did he say? Oh, I deserve this as like a henpecked husband or some shit. And she somehow gets the drop on him. He says, she's like, you got to move over here. Okay, now you got to put your gun over here. Okay, now you got to take your clothes off. And then she grabs him by the dick.
Literally just full on grabs his dick.
You can see it in the movie. Like, she's got a wrap around there. Like, she's got him, and she's got a knife to it. And
that's not acting either.
It was not acting.
That was off script. It just came up.
It just happened that way. And then she steals his truck and sends him off into the desert nude. And this is where the movie does that weird thing where it just follows. I think this is where it's supposed to be comedy, and it doesn't really land, but it is technically funny.
It was funny
reasons.
just because of the context of what was happening. But yeah, it made it seem like we were following him for so long. It didn't even become funny. It just became, why are we following this guy?
Yeah,
who's just naked dancing in the desert.
Yeah, he's covering. At first, he's covering himself up, and then he realizes he's like, and he's talking to himself, and he's blaming his dick, and he's talking to.
legit talking to his penis.
And then he starts dancing and singing in like the woods for no reason. It's just a thing that you're supposed to watch. I don't know why. And he tries to get some help from somebody, and they throw garbage at him, and they drive off, and that's the end of that character.
I never see him again.
Dude.
Not once. And his idea is like, he's like, I'll see if I'll tell them that some woman tried to rape me and took all my clothes. Like, that's the most believable thing he could say. It's just a very strange place to go. Like, not I got mugged and somebody took all my shit. Just some woman. I was so handsome.
This movie has a lot of rape.
I like how that one guy was basically hired to be like, yeah, you're just gonna throw trash at an old naked guy in the desert. That's that guy's only role.
Yep.
Oh, you thought they hired him? That happened. Yeah. Like, that was real.
They stopped and they were like, yo, can we get your name just so we can credit you in the movie? He's like, sweet.
They also did come up with his final story was that he lost all of his clothes gambling.
That's true.
Happens, it happens sometimes.
He gambled on something and he lost his clothes, so I guess he isn't too wrong on that one.
I mean, when I see older things, that's like a trope, I guess. You've seen it many times of like, I lost my shirt gambling and now I'm stuck in the Vegas with nothing. And so that's okay. All right. I can get behind that a little bit. From there, Mina goes to the city in her car that she, I feel like we're missing some stuff though. There's some stuff with like the detectives in their office and the lead detective, oh no, that comes next. Because
that's afterwards, because the murders haven't started yet. So
Mina hasn't started murdering people.
Yeah, so after she gets away in the truck, she basically goes into the city, and she meets with the prostitute, I believe. She picks up a prostitute, and basically she's trying to get information, because her plan at this point, because she's had so many attempted rapes on her, is to just start murdering men, assuming that they're rapists,
She's
and
gone
she's
full serial killer. Like,
yeah,
Pretty straight up.
and she's using the prostitute to get information on where is the least dangerous areas to go, or where can she be the most successful. And it's an interesting scene. It's an interesting scene.
the quick note: the prostitute seems like she's not only a real prostitute, or I mean, she's either a real prostitute or the best actress in the movie. Like,
Yeah, like honestly, I think I even said like, yeah, no, that's a real prostitute. Like she was legit crying after her little speech. It was nuts. But after that, we just have her murdering people. Like it's just her straight murdering people across the country.
and the detectives, it cuts back to the original brother of the fiance, who's a detective, and they're telling him get off the case. He's told this by his boss, who is definitely reading the script off the paper that's highlighted in front of him.
Right. You can see it. It's literally just right in front of him in the shot. You can see the highlighter in there. It's literally the script. It's amazing.
I think they were banking on the quality being shitty enough to not be able to see it was actually the script. Yes, it was almost there. It was almost that bad. Maybe back in the 80s it would have been that bad.
I love that his phone call. The way they made it sound like it was from the other side was he was basically screaming inside the room.
He's just sitting on the other side of the room in a folding chair. You read your lines and I read them back. We'll muffle it up so it sounds like a phone call. And I mean,
that is actually before we follow David. There's the other rapist. There's one more. Remember? Because she goes onto the beach and she sees like the shell and everything.
Oh yeah.
And then she's about to leave. Somehow she ran out of gas in her car, so she needs to hitchhike again. And of course, the car that picks her up is once again another rapist.
There's so many.
But she's way more prepared this time. She just straight up like shoots the guy.
She even asks him, she's like, is this what you want? Are you sure? You don't know it, but I know you're about to have a bad time.
The character progression is here. It's in this movie.
She's have a badass arc, now, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Sure.
I'm totally not being sarcastic, but but that it was funny because she drives him to like the edge of a cliff, and then like pushes the car with him in it off of the cliff.
It was a cool scene though. I like that.
It was cool.
It was an actual car going off a cliff, and then did they have a CGI explosion at the end? I think they did.
Yeah, yep,
I think they just blew up the screen.
And then she just has to, I guess, walk or get another ride. But what I did read up on too, and researching more about this, is that car actually belonged to the director's daughter, teenage daughter. Apparently he took it away from her for some unknown reason, and I guess he decided to use her car in his movie. So props for the dedication. It's nuts.
Yeah. I told you not to. I told you you had a curfew. Give me your fucking car. You'll get it back never.
And then after that, we leave Mina for a bit, and we start following David, so Daniel's brother.
And at this point, it's almost a whole different movie. Like this is like Mina doesn't come back for a while, if I'm not mistaken, and it becomes Detective Man chasing down Mina. They're looking for Mina, yet they've not thought to go ask her father, who gave her bank account, and just like she's like, I need to go be free and do my own thing. And her father's like a year older than her. It's very weird. and like he just sends her on her way, and you just get a scene of her like she just takes off running down the suburb sidewalk, and that's her being free with her wallet.
You're free.
You're free, go. And they never ask him or anything, which is kind of weird, because if you like it turns out in the end that like if the cop never did anything, they would have caught Mina just fine.
Yeah, I mean they catch her.
They catch her in one I guess non sequitur scene in the middle of the third act.
What's really strange about David's part too is like you can tell right away that what he's doing is not going to help him at all. Because the whole thing is that they're trying to investigate the biker gang that those two bikers were a part of. But the whole crime itself was completely unrelated to the rest of the gang, so they don't have any information in the first place. And Mina's just going off on her own, just, going across the country. Like, they won't know anything. So essentially you just have this whole part where you're just watching this knowing that there's no point to any of these scenes because it doesn't advance Mina at all.
The scene doesn't really advance anything. It's like, it's so much stuff that could have just been like, maybe, I don't know, a 5-minute scene that plays out over like 15-20 minutes. Like the scene in the bar, it's just some woman who's got, something's wrong with her. And she's just like at this weird biker bar playing darts by herself in skimpy clothing. A biker, the detective, he's like, he pays the bartender over the course of time $300
over two drinks.
Two drinks and one of the bikers' names. And the biker like sexually harasses this woman playing darts, and then she leaves and just goes into the ocean. Like she literally walks out the back door and goes into the ocean to play in the surf by herself.
Yeah, the beach out behind the biker bar.
Yeah. It's a hip spot, dog. That's why the bikers hang out there. They're beach bikers. Do you know about beach bikers? The guy who attempts to assault her follows her out down to the beach again, and here we have like the same scene that happened in the beginning of the movie. I don't know if there's any subtext there, but if there is, I can't read it.
I don't know how to read.
I don't know how to read. That's tough. The biker goes to rape this woman, and this biker looks exactly like we were struggling to figure out if it was the same actor or not, because he looks exactly like the first one who died.
He seemed this older version of that guy, honestly. Like 10 years passed. Yeah, he beats him up, chokes him out. And then what happens next is really weird, because the woman's thankful to him and decides to help him out by, I guess the scene changes, and now we're like on some random road. The woman is now on top of David's car, just posing, and the bikers are like passing by, and the same biker that David fought and knocked out sees her,
quote unquote,
stops. Yeah, fought, quote unquote.
He squeezed his head until he passed out.
The police squeeze, this was called. But pulls over and then tries to rape her again.
And then the policeman gets his foot stuck for some reason. He's like hiding in the car, and he gets his foot stuck, so this woman's like possibly being raped while he's trying to get out and go save her. And then he uses the police head squeeze once again. And both times the woman is watching this happen, it cuts to her face, and she's just stone-faced, staring off into the distance. Like there's nothing going on behind those eyes. There's no
reaction. She's just watching, just blinking with a polite smile on her face. It's amazing. And what's even great too is like it makes no sense like how they knew they were coming to that spot on the road. And then there's a scene too where the biker has a gun and shoots at David, but nothing happens. Like there's no reaction to any of the gunshots, so you almost think that he misses. But the movie explains that he actually had a bulletproof vest on, but there's not even like a bullet hole or anything, or he didn't just like.
There's no scene where he puts it on. There's no reaction to the gunshots. There's no. He looked like he like UI Goku through the gunshots.
He like Terminated it.
Yeah. Like I legit thought he just missed, and I was like, "How do you miss from that close?" But no, I guess he
only held 2 shots.
He had a vest on.
He definitely did not keep his gun fully loaded. That's for sure.
Yeah, like
fired twice.
6 shots. The other thing is that David had put on a bike, like a motorcycle helmet at some point between scenes as he gets out.
I don't know what.
Oh,
for.
did he?
Yeah, he's like wearing.
Yeah, he was wearing one. I don't know what the point of that was. He never like got punched. He took it off to fight the guy, didn't he?
Yeah.
For some reason.
It was weighted. It was weighted clothes. He increased his power level.
He then hogties the guy for like 5 minutes. He's tying up his legs and throws him in the truck or the car in the back seat, and then asks him like where his boss is, because maybe his boss will know where Mina is. I think I'm making a stretch here.
No, that's pretty much what happens. Like at this point, you can tell that the very first two parts of the movie don't even matter. Like this is its own separate thing. Because we learn about the boss, whose name is Black Pepper. He's completely unrelated to the rest of the movie.
You've never heard about him the entire movie, and suddenly the main antagonist is now Black Pepper.
Yeah, it's this random biker dude, I guess.
It's like blonde Macho Man Randy Savage.
And it's very strange, because you think that the biker leader would be with the rest of the bikers, but he's not.
He lives in a penthouse.
Yeah, so at this point, the woman basically says her goodbyes. She's gone. And the biker that David beat up, who we learn his name is Dutch, takes him to Black Pepper. And for some reason, they never showed this. I'm wondering if like a scene got cut or just was missing. But the police come there too. So the police are here now looking for Black Pepper with David. No idea why. We don't know what Black Pepper did.
This is one of those like scenes you have to add yourself, because that's what real good movies have. You have to assume that David called the precinct and was like, "Hey, I got on a." You only see one cell phone in the movie, so I don't even know if cell phones were a thing when it started. I don't think so. 84, probably not. So this had to have been filmed later, because later on the cop has a cell phone that he treats like a CB radio. He doesn't know how to use it. So you just kind of assume that David called the precinct and was like, "Yo, I got this guy, and you need to come save me when they all jump on me at this specific spot." It's almost like he drove to a spot where the detectives were already waiting, and that's not possible. Because they'd already told him, stay off the case, don't do anything, and he's doing this all rogue.
He's doing the whole rogue cop thing.
He's a rogue cop because it's his brother, and he's too close to the case. And then they never talk about it again. They just kind of let him do whatever.
And then I think this leads into the weirdest scene in the whole movie, at least for me. It goes into the this house that Black Pepper's in, super fancy. And he's like making out with this one chick, but there's another girl there who is just belly dancing.
And she's got one name, so she must be popular somewhere. Like even in the credits, they're like, "This is Voodie" or something. And
I don't remember the name. Yeah,
with an R.
Yeah, like a Ruhi.
Ruhi. That was it, right? And they like do these weird, like they get right up in her face with the camera so you can recognize who it is, but nobody knows who that is.
I was just baffled by how long it went on. And like it was just like three straight minutes of just her dancing.
It was a full
Nothing's
song.
Happening in the background. Like literally Black Pepper's just watching her.
He's just rubbing up on her with this other girl. Yeah, it's just their foreplay. They need Ruhi to start getting their engines going. That's what's going on.
It's very strange. It's very uncomfortable because, and the worst part is like they're looping video too. So you see like the same things over and over and over again for 3 straight minutes. It's just terrible. It's honestly terrible.
Nothing about the movie is not terrible. I ended up not liking anything about it. I hated this movie.
It was shit.
And then she just walks off. The police don't see her. They don't arrest her or anything. She just disappears.
Yeah, Ruhi disappears from the movie. They hired her for 5 minutes and left.
Yeah. And then Black Pepper and the other woman, I don't think they ever said her name.
She didn't need a name. She was just there to wear not many clothes and get rubbed up on.
Then we get like a sexy time scene for, again, another like 3 straight minutes. And then they finally hear the police and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get out of here." And Black Pepper runs away and tries to escape.
They arrest that lady.
The police storm in. Scene. Yeah, the police storm in. They find the girl who's still just sitting on the bed, I guess. she's like, I'll be fine.
No, she's
just
like, no, they say, where's Black Pepper? And she points to her heart. She goes, Black Pepper's here in my heart.
And then one of the police gives off this really rapey vibe.
Yep.
And it's like, why is there another one? What is happening? So we get another rapist, but thankfully nothing happens and they just arrest her and walk off.
At this point, Mina has already been arrested, I believe.
Yeah, they just say offhand that she's been arrested. There isn't really anything to
There's a
mention.
scene where they follow her, the detectives, and then they catch her.
Yeah, apparently they catch her in a park.
Yeah, they literally just walk up to her and say you're under arrest, and that was it. Like, that's all it was.
That's it.
It's very anticlimactic, if there was any build up to it. But
then Black Pepper. Oh no, go for it.
The other thing is when they are raiding Black Pepper's house, when they break into his room, Black Pepper's gone by this point, but the woman hasn't done anything. The only thing she has done at this point is put like a blanket up in the air, like she's hiding behind it.
She's like a ghost.
yeah, she's on her knees on the bed with a blanket over top of her. So like she's not even trying to hide. She's just like, ooh, you can't see me. And the police are just pointing guns at her and telling her to take the thing off. She's like, no, I don't wanna. It's amazing.
And then she does, and that's when the cop's like, ooh.
The cop starts getting googly eyes at her just because she's nude.
And
then comes the best chase scene. This is kind of what got me back into the movie with how stupid it was. David, what happens to David at this point? He chases after Black Pepper. Oh, yeah. They get in a fight, and it uses the same sound effects. It's another
oh my god
3-minute fight scene, and you just hear bah, bah, bah,
Yeah.
and he is
punch for all of them.
He gets fucking wrecked.
Yeah, and what's great is they did the whole looping video again too. So you'll see someone get punched, you'll see the video rewind, it'll play again, he's getting punched again, it'll rewind, play again. It's
almost comedy. It's like it's purposely done for comedic effect, but you know he didn't mean for that to be like that.
The choreography is all wrong. You can tell so clearly that they're not actually hitting each other.
No, it's the fight scenes are hideous.
Yeah,
all of them.
It's very bad. There's no variance between any of the hitting sounds. They're all exactly the same for every hit. No matter what time between them, they're exactly the same.
It just keeps going too. And then David gets his ass whooped and you never see him again. That's the end of David's arc.
Yeah, to be fair, Black Pepper's a big guy.
Black Pepper is a beefy guy. Like I said, blonde macho man.
Yeah.
And then the movie
Still don't know why
becomes...
it's called Black Pepper.
I don't know biker gangs. Maybe he jammed a pepper shaker down somebody's throat one day, and that became his moniker.
It's just a weird name.
I like that backstory. I like it.
Hey, it's better than what we got.
And then the chase scene continues.
It becomes the police chief's movie.
Yep. Now the police chief was like 60 years old.
Oh, he's easily 70. Like he's
60, 70 is now chasing Black Pepper like across the tundra.
He chases him through the reeds. He chases him into caves, and then he looks up, and Black Pepper has just looped his way back around to his house again.
It was like 3 minutes of just running and just to end up right back at the same house.
It's not actually supposed to be the same house.
Yeah, and then we close up onto it, and it's a different house.
They're in like
now.
a suburban neighborhood. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot.
So the final scene to the movie, it's amazing. There's a woman that we see watching TV.
I don't know if she's watching TV. She's just staring off into the distance.
I think you can hear TV. Can't you?
On?
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Well, she's definitely.
If I remember
listening
right,
to it,
I think
then.
you can hear a TV. And you see Black Pepper just walk, like he's in the house now. Just look at her. And she can hear him, I guess, and she pulls out a gun from underneath the quilt that she's
Pulls out a
making.
Luger.
Yeah, she pulls out like a legit Luger, and she just grabs it and just starts firing. Just no hesitation. And I guess it turns out the woman is blind, so I don't know how she was able to to get a gun, but
Well, I mean, if I had to sit there, it didn't show him breaking into the house. Like, she just left her. I think maybe that's her kink. She just like sits there blind and waits for somebody to come so she can murder him and call it self-defense. I was a
this
poor
point,
blind woman.
it would not surprise me in this movie.
She fires at Black Pepper and misses. He sneaks around and then attempts to rape her. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and at this point, keep in mind, like the police chief is still chasing him.
Yeah.
Like he's still chasing after him. It's not like he's gotten away or anything.
It's and as he's about to rape her, the police chief shows up out of nowhere and arrests him, and then the frame freezes, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's incredible. Like literally the characters that are on screen at that freeze frame did not exist 20 minutes ago.
No. It was
It's incredible.
Incredible's definitely it's a word. It's incredible that this took 21 years to make.
Yeah, I looked around just trying to see, what why it took so long, and I couldn't find anything, to be honest. I did see some things where apparently there was a finished version of the film, like only a year after they started filming, but for some reason they started working on it still, and it wasn't actually released till 2005. But unfortunately the director himself, John S. Rad, has passed away 2 years after the movie came out, actually, in 2007.
Oh shit, he's dead.
Yeah, yep. He was older. I think he was in his 70s. Yeah, unfortunately he did. And he's got an interesting history behind him too. John S. Rad. He was an architect. He was an architect, just like our other favorite director, Neil Breen.
He's so good.
That's what happens when architects become directors. Is fucking...
Yeah, he was an architect in Iran that apparently escaped to the U.S. in the Iranian Revolution in '79. And I guess like 5 years later, he said he's gonna make a movie. I think he did movies too. I think in Iran, but I couldn't find anything about that.
Ruhi is a dancer, and she was in like music videos and stuff. So that would
Oh, you actually
explain
got
that.
stuff on her.
Hidden, but yeah, she back then
Hidden.
she was popular, maybe in Iran, I would think. Or
I had to do some digging.
I had to do some Ruhi digging. So based on what we've seen, would any of you recommend?
Oh, definitely. You have to watch this movie. It is amazing. You've not lived till you've seen Dangerous Men.
I mean, I definitely put it below most of the Neil Breen movies. I would watch Samurai Cop over this. I'd definitely watch the Miami Connection over this. But if you're looking for a bad movie to watch, I mean, it's there. I've seen worse. I was interested for the most part. Some of it's slow. There's a lot of scenes that just keep going, and you start to be like, well, what is the point of this? Where does this fit into the plot at all? And it just doesn't.
I think the thing that makes this movie so interesting is just knowing what's behind it. Like, the fact it took so long to make, and you can actually see like evidence of that in the movie helps you watch it. It just makes them even more surreal. The fact that this took over 2 decades to film and produce helps a lot in trying to actually piece together this movie. It makes it a lot less boring.
That's true.
I think that's a huge part of it, because if you didn't know that, I think this movie would be worse.
If you just watch it, do not watch it by yourself. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, don't.
Yeah, do not.
Like I caught myself making double checking the actors, like seeing if they replaced anyone.
A bunch of times.
Yeah, they did. They did. But yeah, it definitely makes the movie more entertaining. I think without that, if it did not take that long to make and add so many problems to the movie, it would be a lot worse. The execution is just so bad with so many scenes. The dialogue is just terrible. It's just wrong on too many levels to be any good without taking into account other reasons to watch it.
I mean, quality-wise, it's trash. Like, the audio sucks.
Yeah.
The graphics suck. Even for that time period, Everything is real bad. But if, bad movies are your thing, I'd say
Definitely
go
worth
for
the
it.
watch.
Yeah, Strider. Sue?
Anything to say?
I don't fucking know, dude, man. Like that, I don't know. It was a wild ride. I guess is the only thing to be said for me.
I'm glad it's in my bad movie lexicon at this point. I'll say that.
I'm happy I watched it, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm happy I watched it. I do not regret watching this movie, that's for sure.
That scene where the cop chases the guy around for 10 minutes and then turns up and they're right back at the house was like my favorite.
My favorite was when they walk they crawl through the cave under the rock, and the old man just like
He's checking like twigs and stuff. I'm tracking him into this cave.
It's so good. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it was all right.
And I think that takes us to our next movie then, huh?
The one thing, there's a black cop. He's like negligible to the movie, but he's in there. I just wanted to mention that.
He doesn't really do anything.
No, he does nothing. He has a sex scene too, and there's no point to any of it.
Oh, I honestly forgot about that. I honestly did. I forgot he does. There was no point to that.
They even set up that there might be some drama between him and his wife, but it's resolved immediately.
Yep. She's like, "You're never home to have sex with me," and then he's like, "I know, but I'm working." And then it cuts to them fucking, and that's that.
Problem solved. That's how you rate a movie.
Okay. So I think was Dangerous Men? No, Dangerous Men wasn't free on YouTube, but the next film, Roar, definitely is free on YouTube. It shouldn't be, but if you want to see it, that's where it is. We watched Roar.
For sure, Roar, you have to watch.
Roar
is such a good movie.
Everybody has to watch Roar
for the wrong reasons.
Watching it, I never realized how old this movie was. Because it was from 1976 is when this movie was.
Roar was?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I never realized. I thought it was from like late 80s or something, but no, it was from 1976 is when they started filming.
Is it?
And
oh
yeah. Now the thing about Roar that makes it so unique and what it's about, essentially it was an idea that these film stars had, where they wanted to make a movie about like nature and African wildlife, specifically lions, tigers, big cats, essentially. What makes it unique is the fact that all of the big cats that are in this movie are all real and untrained.
They're owned by the actress Tippi Hedren and her husband, who is also the main actor of the film. They own this wildlife reserve. It's supposed to be set in Africa, but it's actually in the U.S. somewhere, California. And it's all I've watched many horror movies in my life, and I've never been more tense through a movie than I have with fucking Roar.
Yeah, because honestly, I was very scared about the amount of cats in this movie is absurd. I think they said it's over 100. But they're not on leashes or anything. The only cages is the one keeping them all on set, and that's it. That's all there is. And in the movie, you will see nothing will stop these things at all. These are very powerful creatures, and they will hurt people, and they do hurt people.
You see a movie with like a big, like you'll see a hip hop video, and it's like a lot of times I see a hip hop video, and like the rapper has like a tiger on a chain, and obviously they're sitting 6 feet away from the tiger, and there's a bunch of handlers you can't see. And it's like, if that tiger really wanted to fuck shit up, the rapper would still have problems. In this, there's like 20 lions on screen at once, and the actors are right there with them. There is no amount.
Oh, they're scared.
The fear on the faces of these people is so real at times. They are actually bleeding. They are actually hurt. Actors will come up in one scene looking fine, and the next their clothes are all torn up and they got bandages. The cats are actively tearing the bandages off of them in the next scene. Like, it is... It was insane.
So the guy almost got scalped.
He did.
Yeah. So for this movie, the actual plot of it's very weak. It's a very weak plot. It's almost non-existent. But the fact that they were able to put anything in there whatsoever, is extremely impressive. considering you have just a bunch of tigers with actors trying to make a story out of it. The story is you have the naturalist Hank, who lives on this preserve with all these tigers, and he's basically doing this study of what would happen if you bring all of these different cat species together in one place. You know, like what would the behavior be like? And the plot is that at the beginning of the movie, he has a committee who basically controls his funding, which is how he's able to afford to have all these cats. They come and basically want to look around, like see how it's going, you know, what the nature of the actual experiment is. And you can see things go wrong so fast.
Get on the boats.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. So they take boats to Hank's reserve because the house that he lives in is on this river, which is held up on telephone poles. So the committee, which is a group of like 6 to 8 people, I don't actually remember how many there are. They come up on these boats and they're staying on the boats because like as soon as they pull up, they're surrounded by tigers and lions. They are just everywhere, and they are not leaving those boats.
No, and the tigers just hop up like they're just like, hey, look, new place. Like they're not angry. Tigers are they're almost friendly, but they're also like 700 pounds. So they just jump on the boat, and immediately everybody in the boat is filled with fear. I'm sure that's
it is such a shock because you immediately realize that these people are in such danger. Because as soon as they fall into the water, because these tigers just basically sink their boats immediately, they start jumping on people, and it looks like they're playing, and you're like, oh, they're fine, and then you see the blood. They're
in the water and they still come up out of the water covered in blood, only to get on land and be like assaulted by more tigers and lions and shit. That's ridiculous.
And then Hank, who's the caretaker, both, you know, like for in real life and also in this movie, just trying to fight all of these lions and tigers off of these people. He's legit like just like pushing them and shoving them and yelling at them. He at one point, like you can actually see one of them bite through his hand. Mm-hmm. It's like between I think his pointer finger and his thumb. It just bites straight through his hand. And they have to bandage it up off camera. But it is just so ridiculous. I can't believe anyone thought this was a good idea. It's just crazy.
The crazy part to me is them even trying to like have a plot through this. Like they talk about like Togar, a rogue lion, who often like in the Wikipedia, I forgot about it totally. But like the good lion is Robbie and the bad lion is Togar. And then there's so many lions though you can't even tell one from the other. And they're
Hank knows them. Hank knows them. He's calling them by their name and everything.
Hank knows, but Hank is insane. Hank is out of his mind.
And just reading like background about this movie too. One thing when I was watching it, I was like, I can't believe how they're getting these shots. It's ridiculous. And it turns out I was kind of right because it took forever for them to get anything useful out of
I'm sure
anything
cats
they
just
recorded.
lay around at the zoo all day. I'm sure they did that at the reserve too.
Yeah.
Just lie around all the time doing nothing.
Like at one point, there's a scene where like they have two tigers that are in a car, and they're just taking the car down the road with the tigers in it, right? And I thought that'd be the easiest scene out of any of them to shoot.
They were so happy to get on the boat. Why wouldn't they get in a car?
Right, but apparently that scene alone took 7 weeks to record.
Dang.
7 weeks to do that, and the full runtime for actually recording or filming all this was 5 years. Took them 5 years to do all of this. It was a mixture of a bunch of stuff because I know that they had issues with the cottonwood trees that were actually indigenous to the region because they change color with the season. So they only had like a 5-month period of when they could actually film and do the movie every year. And when, you know, one scene takes 7 weeks, it's very difficult. And you have so many people that are just getting mauled by lions constantly. It's a miracle this movie came out at all.
They also lost like almost a full year to a flood, didn't they?
Yes. Yep. There was a flood too. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So with the movie, I think I think the most impressive thing is just Hank, like Noel Marshall, because the way he actually, you can tell like he knows these animals, because he's the most with them. He's the most aggressive with them. He's like legit running around, getting between two tigers fighting, and he's the least injured out of pretty much everyone. It's nuts. I couldn't believe it. And speaking of injuries too, oh my gosh, the amount of injuries that happened in the filming of this was ridiculous.
So many.
Hundreds of stitches had to happen. There were people with blood poisoning. Even Hank.
Septis, right, too, as well.
Yep, septis, gangrene too, which is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, there we go.
Gangrene, which is basically your body is dying because you've lost so much blood. It's nuts. It's absolutely ridiculous. But what's cool about the movie though is there's lots of different animals. It's not just tigers.
There's so many animals to look at.
There are a lot of
animals
animals involved in this because this is a reservation, so they had to buy all of these animals. They're not wild. And I don't remember how many there were. Let me see if I can find a list of them.
There's a list somewhere. So they do the
yeah, here it is.
They get chased off by the tigers and whatnot, and then doesn't it cut to like he starts training some guy who's like you're watching him and you're like, this guy had no idea what was going on when they brought him. I'm sure he was acting, but he is constantly afraid of every animal that comes his way, and rightfully so. Poor Mativo. Yeah. Poor Mativo.
Yeah, like he's very scared. Like the thing is too, the amount of animals that are there, they're all dangerous. Like it's lions, tigers, panthers, cougars, jaguars, leopards, elephants. Like there's so many. They're constantly surrounded. And you have after Mativo, who we kind of get like a intro to, someone learning to hopefully survive. Eventually, the next plot point is Hank's family is coming down to visit in his new home, and we had to see basically a bunch of people that have no idea what they're doing try to survive all these animals.
It's crazy because it's like Hank didn't tell them, yo, my house is going to be covered in giant cats. Like, I hope you guys are prepared. Like, they seemingly go to his house and they're walking around the house in the beginning and they're like, ooh, look at all his African stuff. This is pretty cool. I'm going to take a nap on his bed. And they have no idea that.
There were some great shots in that too, because the family are walking through the house, and with the camera work, you can see like the tigers where they are, but the family can't see them, and they're just like walking straight by them. You can still see the animals, but they have no idea. I can't fathom how long it took to get those shots.
They'll be up in the rafters and stuff.
Yeah, but it was really impressive. And I was just screaming at them, like, look up, please, you're gonna die. And then eventually they find out about the tigers. They just get flooded with them, the whole house. And at one point, during all this, they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide in like lockers and stuff because they don't know what to do and they're very scared. But at one point, the antagonist lion, I think it's Toga? Was it Togar? Yeah, Togar. He comes in, and you realize like that wasn't part of the script. He just really is a really antagonistic lion. Because he just starts tearing through the house. And I don't mean like he's like running through. He is breaking down walls trying to get to this family.
He's coming through the drywall. He's knocking doors down. It becomes a horror movie real fast.
And you literally think watching this, like, those people are so dead. And I thought this was part of, I don't think it's part of the movie anymore, thinking back on it, because they find a gun, like they find a rifle.
They're carrying a rifle through that entire scene.
Yeah, they're holding a gun to shoot Togar. But they, like, I guess they can't quite shoot him because the wall and everything, the whole house is falling apart. But thinking back on it, I think that was just a real gun in case they actually did have to shoot Togar. That thing, like, Togar was just so aggressive. I'm pretty sure if he caught them, they would have died.
If they would have been too slow doing that, if they would have been too slow with doing that, one of them would have been seriously injured, if not outright.
every scene Tugger was in, he was covered in blood.
Yeah, like
I
that
think
was
that's
no
how they
joke.
made him distinct. Is they said this line's always gonna be bloody as shit. I don't even know if it was fake though. They might have just had to feed him first before they put him in the scene.
It could have been, but it definitely matched up. Tugger was very aggressive.
It was unpleasant.
There was another crazy scene too, where one of the women gets knocked out, and one of the shelves above them that they're unconscious falls over, and breaks like a glass or a jar of honey, and the honey like drips down from the shelf onto her face, and she wakes up with like a panther licking her face. And the actor went on record apparently saying that was probably the most terrifying scene because no one knew if that thing was gonna bite her face off.
I mean, it's
Like-
just the thought of like if you even just like a regular house cat, you're playing with them and they get a little too rough, and then you're like in a struggle automatically. Like you got claws in you, you're like, I don't know what to do, it hurts. And then imagining that house cat is, 4 times your
500
weight.
pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
crazy.
it's still playing, Even when they're trying to be nice, you're gonna end up getting scalped. It's horrifying. And at some point, okay, so Hank and Motivo, where do they leave to go do something? Like for some reason they don't go to the house while the family goes there. They leave to go do something. They go to visit a Maasai tribe or something for some reason.
Yeah, so the reason why is because Hank didn't realize that
is insane.
the family took a bus to go to his
that's
house. So he's traveling to the airport to meet them so he can drive them back, not knowing that they were there already. So that's why they're alone. Hank's not there to save them from all these tigers.
Oh well, and part of it is like some tigers follow them to where they're going, and Hank is like, I don't want these tigers following me, Motivo. I need you to hang out in this tree and wave your thing around all night. You're fucking. You take off your jacket and wave it around like a toy, and then they'll play with it, and I'll be back in like the morning.
Yeah, he fucking left him in the tree all night.
I think he said that at that point they were off of his reserve. So if any poachers found the tigers, then like they legally could actually kill them. So he didn't want them to die if he just left them alone trying to have them follow. He wanted them to stay there so they'd be safe.
And remember, this is Motivo's first day.
This is a stressful first day.
He didn't have to
Very
watch
extra.
no training
Yeah, that better be
videos.
overtime.
He didn't meet the crew. He said, get in there and distract these tigers. He's an umbrella motherfucker.
I love that part. Do you keep him back with this?
They're like trying to. He says, "What am I supposed to like keep these tigers off while we're dealing with some?" And he's like, and he just hands him a black umbrella and he's like, "Spread this out and just use it." And Motivo holds onto that umbrella for the rest of the movie, like it's his lifeline.
You get it from at some
It
point.
works. That's the crazy thing. It worked. Like that umbrella trick actually worked. He was holding off like 3 tigers with that until they broke it.
Yeah, they break it towards
And
the
they
end.
started playing with it, so I guess it still worked.
So we're giving the plot more credit than it deserves because this whole thing is like you can't even tell where the plot is. You're just watching people try to avoid dying.
Yeah.
But according to the plot, at this point, the family has lived through the night, I guess. Somehow they got sleep and maybe the lions went away. They never show like the lions leaving or them locking them out or anything. Lions just come and go in the house as they please. And if
Yeah.
not, there's tigers and panthers up in the rafters and on the ceiling and shit. And at this point they get in a boat and head to like another section of land where they encounter an elephant. And the elephant apparently works for OSHA and it wants to inspect the boat. It fucking
I love that.
He's
destroys
a
it.
very
fucking
dedicated, passionate worker too, because he rips that thing to shreds.
Just beats the shit out of the boat.
He's kicking the boat. He forces him back into the water and is still just beating the shit out of the boat on land.
There's this great part too when they're trying to escape from the boat. They get too close to the land, and one of the lions is there waiting for them, and the lion just like looks at them and takes a paw and just pulls them closer. And the guy's just so scared, trying to like avoid the lion, and they keep trying to push themselves away from shore. And as soon as they get a little too far, the lion grabs them again, pulls them back in. It's just that over and over again. Like, oh, it's so funny, but it's so terrifying.
Like I said, I've never been tense through a whole movie. Like somebody's gonna die. Somebody's gonna get shaken like a rag doll, and that's gonna be it. But luckily, nobody did, I guess. They even have a thing in the like beginning, a big disclaimer pops up that like, yes, people were injured, but no cats were injured in the making of this film.
Yeah. So they only have estimates. There were no official numbers, but they estimated about 70 some of the 140 crew were grievously injured. Hank, though, Noah Marshall, estimated that it was probably over 100. So almost everyone got injured filming this movie.
Did you not? And the smell would have been injury in itself.
So at this point in the movie, Hank is trying to go back home after going to the airport and realizing his family's already there. And he's worried because, you know, they're with a bunch of fucking lions.
That he didn't tell them would be there when they invited them before.
So he's running back, and we also get this scene with the committee members from the beginning of the movie. And after getting mauled by all these tigers and shit, they decide this is not a good idea, and they make the executive decision to go and kill Hank's lions. So they're going around and they're just shooting lions. And the scene itself, like where they show the committee members actually shooting the lions, you see them dropping everything, but apparently they were just filming the lions like monthly blood draw, so they're just being tranquilized essentially.
Yeah, it's real. Like the lions are up on a rock and then they just tumble down a cliffside. And you're like, ooh, did they really just kill that fucking cat? Like,
that's what I thought for the first one. But you see two more, and you can clearly tell they're still alive. Like they're breathing, they're kind of looking around. They just look really tired.
They definitely for sure fall down those cliff sides.
Oh yeah.
I could feel that hardcore.
But yeah, they're going around, they're shooting lions. But then Togar shows up. And he wrecks their shit. He kills both of the committee members that are trying to kill these lions. And I'm guessing they dressed up like some meat or something and blooded it up because there's body parts everywhere. But before that, like they're legit getting mauled by Togar.
Oh yeah.
Like he is on top of them and they're trying to push him off and he's just like pounding them with his paws. It's nuts. I can't believe they didn't die.
And Hank, being the insane brave man that he is, starts shouting like he does through the whole movie. He just runs at the big cats and starts shouting at them to stop.
And it works. Togar starts running away from Hank, and for the rest of the movie, Hank's just like chasing this lion as the lion's running away from him. Hank has my respect. Like, how the fuck are you so scary that a lion has to run away from you?
It's insane though to think that somebody like this is how he lives. I mean, it looked very natural. Like this is how Hank lives his life every day from sunup to sundown. He is yelling at lions. That is his job. That is his life. That's his passion. His clothes are constantly in tatters. Like it's insane to think that somebody lives that life. After he chases him off, though.
I found the numbers too, real quick, just to give you guys like an idea. So there were 71 lions, 26 tigers, a tigon, which is a mix between a tiger and a lion, 9 black panthers, 10 cougars, 2 jaguars, 4 leopards, 2 elephants. And then there was just some birds like swans, geese, and cranes and stuff. But yeah, like this is over 100 dangerous animals in one spot. It's absurd.
And I guess Robbie, the other lion, shows up at that point.
Yep.
And comes to fight off Togar, and they are having a big cat battle.
Big cat battle, big time.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And at this point, like, I'm tired from being tense through this whole movie. There's like scenes we're cutting out where like there's a straight half an hour of the family just running around this house, jumping in water barrels, hiding in lockers. And I think that it happens multiple times. Like there's 2 or 3 scenes of this and it just keeps going. There's one part where he like gets on a motorcycle and they find the motorcycle and he drives off the property to go get help, the son. And then immediately runs into an elephant who starts full on charging him like that. It was like Jurassic Park with the T-Rex. Like that elephant wanted his ass.
And what's great too is that motorcycle is not fast enough to escape those tigers.
No, it's built
Those
to
lions.
climb, not for speed.
Yeah, they are much faster than that bike. Like they are doing loop-de-loops around him as he's
They-
trying to escape.
It was
and
legit.
they're playing with him.
It was legit like I was saying, like Dead by Daylight, where you're the killer and somebody's screwed and you're just kind of following him around. The tigers were like that. They were
It is honestly watching it felt like such a hopeless situation. Like they cannot escape at all.
No.
There's no way.
There's nowhere to go.
You do get this nice scene though, where they find a way to get away from them by climbing to the top of the house and going across this water wheel. So they climb across this water wheel. And they managed to get away from them and find like this empty building. And they said, okay, we're gonna sleep here. There's no tigers or lions here at all. We'll sleep here for now and we should be okay.
They didn't
But
shut
they
the
forget to
door.
lock the door.
They didn't even shut the door. They just fell asleep on the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah, they just slept on the floor.
So when they wake up, they're surrounded by like 30 lions, all sleeping next to them. It's a nice scene because you get to, like they're all cuddled up to with them and everything, and the mood kind of shifts in the movie.
It's character development at this point.
Yeah. So the family just kind of gets like it's almost like they understand the lions a bit more. Like they're sleeping with them, they're playing with them more. They're still getting fucked up, but they're a lot more calm. And there's like scenes where one of the Hank's sons is like sleeping on his bed, and there's a big old tiger, or excuse me, a big lion just resting his head on the son's chest. I remember looking at that, and I was like, that man is both the most in danger person yet the safest person on earth. It was incredible.
I mean, it kind of felt undeserved to me, just because
Yeah.
like nothing really changed. They just woke up and the lions were there and not eating them for once.
Yeah.
Their entire reason was, well, if they wanted us dead, they would have done it while we were asleep. So I guess
Yep.
they don't.
Yeah, and they really accepted that. Like they weren't. I know they're acting, but they
maybe
weren't
that's
as
the arc.
scared as they were before.
No, the arc
that-
is just that they accepted their inevitable death by tiger.
Yeah, like this movie shows you just how strong these animals really are.
Their paws are the
it's-
size of their heads.
Yeah,
like,
it's
if
like
you
no
got-
other. Honestly,
I
it's
was-
a must see. You need to watch this movie.
we were talking about it, and it's like if you ever tried to fight off a dog and you realize how strong a regular ass sized dog is, and then to imagine that is in like a tiger, where what are you gonna do? Punch a tiger? They
Has
can-
like 400 pounds of just muscle. Like
it is
Yep.
built to kill you. It has evolved. It doesn't have the intelligence, but it has everything else. And then I guess Hank shows up. And he's like, Hank is like, hey, what's up, family? And he goes to Mativa and he's like, don't tell him about any of that other shit. Hey, family, what's
it's so good.
There's this weird little moment that shows the actual the how would you say that, the psychopathy, the insanity
How
that is
insane
Hank.
Hank is. Yes. He is absolutely insane. You can tell just by listening to him talk about these lions. He loves them way more than he honestly probably should.
His family.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
more than his family.
It's
He didn't
insane.
even tell them this is what they would be walking into. He said, come to Africa and hang out for a week. It's basically what he told them. And that's it. No idea. Like, not even like, oh, I have a cat that's a pet, or, you know, hey, wait for me to show up before you come into my place. Like, maybe he wanted it to be a surprise. I don't know. In the end, all's well that ends well, and they're playing with kittens and just having a grand old time, and everybody, it's like the heel turn to some of these people, like the family members, like the son who has been fighting for his life for 24 hours straight is like, hey, I can stay for the rest of the week, this is fine. It's like, really? Nah, take me back to the city. Where's the plane at?
So for this movie too, so that's pretty much the end of the movie. After that, like it's just kind of a message of, you know, save the tigers, save the wildlife, fuck poachers.
It's
if you
a
know
very-
anyone that has anything made of real fur, fuck them. That's
Yeah,
the message
show
of
them
this
your
movie.
disgust.
That's what it says. Show them your disgust.
It's reminding me a lot now that I'm thinking about it of the End of Miami connection, where they're like,
Yeah.
only through violence can we achieve world peace. It's like only through watching these cats maul people for an hour will you realize that cats are just big cuddly cats. Like it's a little backwards.
But I think it's pretty obvious, but box office wise, this movie failed. This was a disaster.
no shit.
Absolutely failed. Originally, when they thought about filming this movie, they estimated it would cost like $3 million. And the issue was, I don't think they thought about how long it would take, and also how much money would go into this, because they end up having so many animals that it cost them $4,000 a week just to feed them.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is weird because it was his preserve. Like he should have known that's how much it. I mean, they were both. I know Tippi Hedren was a famous actor. She was in Hitchcock films and yeah, she was the main actress in The Birds, right? Yeah, she was. Oh, so she does have experience with animals.
Yeah. Yep. But they had a lot of budget problems with this because I don't think they had a lot of the things set up that they needed to. Because from what I've read, they had to sell like so much of their 4 of their houses, 600 acres of land that they owned. It basically bankrupted them just to make this movie, and it ended up costing $17 million to make it. So almost 6 times the original budget, and it only made $2 million.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they shot this movie to make money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an interesting movie in that you'll never see another movie like it. It is in its category all its own.
It earned the 2 epitaphs, the most dangerous film ever made and the most expensive home movie ever made, and it earned them. It earned them both.
I guess the original daughter was played by Melanie Griffith, and then she saw a fight between two.
Yeah.
She shot some scenes, and then she saw a fight between 2 lions, and said she didn't want to come out of this with half a face, and then left.
Yeah, she was smart. She's like, I'm out.
I'm out.
Nuh-uh, it's not for me.
So, the wife, the one who plays the wife, she did think that the movie was going to be a hit.
Oh,
And
really?
She was expecting 125 million
Yeah.
to 150 million.
Yep, they expected it to do really well. I mean, like when you think about it, marketing wise,
They
it
must
sounds
have-
super interesting.
They must have fucked up with the marketing big time.
Yeah,
because like
yeah, they must have.
this
Like
is
when you
this
have
is
all
something I
these
would have seen in
actors that are
theaters.
just like with so many dangerous animals. Like, how would people not want to see that? Like, that's a History Channel.
You could, yeah, like I said, this is a super unique movie. It doesn't even feel like a movie. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. It doesn't even feel like a movie for most of it. It feels like, not even a dramatic reenactment. It's like actual live footage of people being attacked by animals for 2 hours.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's a crazy movie. Highly recommend it. You need to see this movie. You'll never find anything like it.
I 100% agree. I was kind of tired after watching Dangerous Men. I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch this, and about 10 minutes into this movie, I was stuck. I was like, I gotta see. Once they're bleeding all over the place, and you're like, are they acting? Like, it
just kind of blurs. The lines blur after a while. You don't know. Like, you can't tell what's acting or if they're legit scared. And like I was saying before, the amount of injuries people had, like one person actually legit got scalped. Like, they had to get 220 stitches in their head.
You can see that guy was bleeding all over the place. And the scary part is he's bleeding in the water, and then he gets out of the water and there's more lions. Like, there's nowhere to go.
Another one of the worst injuries was Togar ended up biting someone in the throat.
Oh shit.
And jaw,
Really?
and then tried to pull off his ear.
Oh, Togar really was a bad man.
Yeah, that was legit.
Then he injured his scalp, chest, and thigh, and the guy had to be hospitalized where he had to undergo surgery for 4.5 hours.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Luckily, no one from the crew died. There were no deaths.
Which is surprising.
None of the animals died because of filming. There were deaths though, but it was mostly due to like airborne illnesses. I think it says 14 lions and tigers died due to that. But none of the animals actually died as a result of the filming.
The flood though that happened ended up like completely destroying the property, and some of the lions and tigers escaped, and the law enforcement ended up having to kill 3 of the lions.
I hate that shit.
One of which included Robbie.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm sad.
I didn't know that either.
Why'd you tell me that? He was
Yeah,
replaced
fuck
with
off.
another
Cut that
lion
part
when
out. Cut
filming.
it out.
Oh, that happened during filming.
Yes. So they
Oh.
had a replacement lion, I think Zuru,
Zuru.
who played Robbie
Man.
for the rest of the
What about
film.
Gary? Gary's Robbie's son.
Gary was still too young by that boy,
Poor
probably.
Gary.
Hey, Gary had the fucking hurt of a big old lion.
So another thing is that Noel Marshall and Tevi Hadron divorced the year after this movie released.
I wonder why.
They seem so in love.
Why'd you tell me about all these goddamn lions? That's actually what happened. This is a documentary. It's not a movie. There was never a script.
It's like It Takes Two. It's a story about secret divorce. I would definitely. I was even streaming the other day and like brought some of it up to show people. Like and it's on YouTube. I mean, don't tell anybody, but it's on YouTube.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't get it taken down.
Don't get it taken down. It's so good though. Okay, so it was in California where they filmed all this. Sounds about right.
They use some plug-in footage, I think, from Kenya.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for
During
sure.
the editing stage.
But yeah, a lot of it was all filmed in California.
Yeah, Africa was like, you can't do that shit here. Like, take your happy ass back to the U.S. Go get there in that California time. They'll take care of you.
It was really interesting to see, though, like, because the whole thing about it is Hank's trying to see, you know, what would happen if you bring all these different species of cats together. Then they never touched on it ever again.
Yeah, they never talked about like how they coexist with each other. Like, there's no information. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's really no information about the animals in this movie.
Yeah, there really isn't. You're just watching people survive, but you actually do see how they actually interact with each other. We quickly learned that you do not want a bunch of male lions in one place because they will fight a lot.
Like I said, Hank's light sun up to sunset, just yelling at lions, like trying to get them to stop hurting each other.
And like the lionesses, they seem a lot more chill than the males do. It's very intriguing. And you don't really see many of the different species of cats fighting each other very often either. A lot of the fights are just between the male lions, just between each other.
No, you can definitely tell because like there's fewer tigers. Obviously, the lions all stick together, but the tigers are generally bigger. But they kind of keep their own from the lions. They stay in the water for the most part. And then all the smaller cats, the pumas and leopards, and they're fine together. They seem like they're totally chilling together. They're just always up in the trees and the rafters, and they stay away from the lions. I didn't see any of the cougars or anything near the lions.
Yeah, it's like this weird respect thing happening in such a small place. It was actually really interesting to notice and just look. So you actually kind of like in a weird way get to see Hank's experiment actually happening. You can kind of notice it for yourself. The movie doesn't really have to say anything.
No, I mean, you're right there. That tracks. But
then again, I don't know enough about lions to be like, me. That's how they always act. I don't know.
No, I mean, I've watched enough Blue Planet type shit to be like I know enough for like male lions will kill their children.
Yep.
Just to keep them out. Like that's the one thing that kind of got me is there's a lot of male lions and they're very territorial over their prides. Like the fact that there was more than one male lion in a place. I noticed that the females and the males seemed to be kept different. Like it was all males or all females.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would round them up like that, but there wasn't a lot of gender mixing between the lions.
Yeah, they kind of. Well, the other thing too is you saw a few scenes where like the female lions like their job is to take care of the cubs, because you see small baby lions too. And that's legit what they're doing. Like, they're just kind of chilling under the trees, watching their kids, and the male lions are just kind of fighting each other, just doing fuck all.
Yeah, normal. I mean, well, that's the male lion's job, is to fend off other, prides, and the females do all the hunting, and the females do all the work pretty much. But I guess it's the same thing with zoos, or like, let's say a fish tank, where you're like, well, that shark isn't eating all the other fish just because they're all well fed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. The male lions, probably the only reason they're so chill is just because they're all fed like every day.
Exactly.
Like they don't need to go hunt. That's why they're all lazy. Oh, you know what? That's probably what the female lions are. They're probably just like bitching, like, man, all these fucking men over here sitting around, just doing nothing. I gotta watch the kids all day.
Togar said he'd make me dinner, and I see him over there fucking hanging out with his boys. Tired of it. Tired of it.
Yeah, but they're playing video games again.
So yeah. I'm kind of thinking this is like an all-around recommend from everybody.
Oh yeah, that was fucking great.
Absolutely.
I think it, like, real talk, just from critics, I think it was actually well received. That's why I'm honestly surprised that it did so poorly. Because even though like the plot and story and everything was kind of bad, like, honestly, what can you expect? Like, I wasn't expecting there to be one at all after the first 10 minutes, just because it's such a crazy and dangerous thing. The fact they pulled anything off at all is absurd. But actually seeing all those animals together in itself is well worth the watch, especially when you got all those people in there with them. It just makes a great thing to watch. And I can't believe it just did so poorly.
I want to look into more of that too, because that it should not have done that poorly. Like, there's a review here that says it's like watching a Jackass movie, and that is kind of close. Like, you're kind of just constantly worried about who's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, that's the
still
thing, though.
Sucked into it.
Jackass did well.
That's true, but they had MTV marketing.
I fucking love Jackass.
They had marketing, and I've never heard about this movie aside from other podcasts and people discussing similar hidden gems, I guess.
Yeah, the only reason we found it was because it was a Reddit page or something about like really bad movies, and they talked about this one.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was recommended, and just the idea of it's just so absurd. We're like, we have to watch this.
It is. Yeah, I heard about this a long time ago from fucking Red Letter Media, because I can't stop. But
what's interesting is that this film as well, just like Dangerous Men, it was bought and re-released in 2015 by the same company, Drafthouse Films. So both of those movies were both re-released the same year.
I think that's what Drafthouse Films does, is they pick up,
bring them back.
Yeah, they find old copies that are cheap and
brought it back.
and give it new life. I think they did Drafthouse do that for Miami Connection too? I know another company did for that movie.
Bring Connection back.
They I think Miami Connection, they literally found like an old copy of the movie in a warehouse and like bought the rights to it. And said, look at this. Look at this.
Look at the magic we made.
Look at this magic. Shit.
But yeah, any like closing thoughts about these?
They did Miami Connection. That is what they re-released.
Miami Connection, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I wish we'd watched that one and had this plan. That was a fun movie.
It was.
That fucking end quote. It's great.
Oh, there's one other thing actually. Is the fact that Roar was marketed as a comedy film. That is so bizarre. Because yes, I laughed, but like I was laughing, but really I was scared. Like, to be honest with you, I was so nervous watching these people struggling to survive.
It was a shock to laughter. It is. I don't even know what to do except laugh. Like,
I'm doing it right now. Like, I can't believe that they thought this was a comedy. I to be fair, I don't really know what to call this movie. But I know it shouldn't be a comedy. That's for sure.
No. It should be fucking like horror survival.
What? Yeah, that's a good fit. Horror
Survival horror. I like it. It's the Resident Evil of lion movies.
Just survive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. That's it for me.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. God damn, that was a good movie.
Yeah, hopefully we find something interesting to watch next. I'm not really sure what to do after these two. Both of these were kind of wild. Roar especially.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard to one up that.
Yeah, Roar's a weird movie.
So hopefully we find something just as interesting next time.
It was definitely unexpected. Like, I was like, all right, we'll check this out and we'll see how it is. And then I just couldn't stop.
One thing we could watch, because I have not seen it, I don't think Soon and Strider have either, is The Room.
I have
I have never seen The Room. I want to see it. Like, I need to see Tommy Wiseau being a fucking weirdo.
I know,
so we could do that.
I know a lot of similar podcasts and YouTube channels don't do The Room because it's like done to death and easy money, but I could give a fuck. I think we should just do it. And
I'm for it. I'm all for it.
Are you kidding me? Hell yeah.
all right, we'll get The Room next week, and maybe find something else as well. The Room might take up all our time. That movie is that's one of the few movies I have. I have like that. I have Things, and there's another one by these like Who Killed Captain Alex, which is like this. It's a kung fu movie, but it's done in like Zimbabwe or something where there's no money or anything.
Zimbabwe.
I don't think it's Zimbabwe, but on top of that, they have like a DJ for the movie who's always yelling things while things are happening, like over the track. Movie.
That sounds amazing.
It's
I really want to watch it.
insanity. It's great. It's
Makes me
great.
think of Waka Flocka.
It kind of like he's like they'll be fighting. He's like, oh, he hit him with the tiger punch. Get him, big power, and you're like,
Dude, yes. I want that.
Hollywood films. That's what it is.
Hollywood.
Sounds like a great thing to pair with The Room. We could do that. It's like wine and cheese. I
I'm
don't know if those
down
go
wine.
together.
I
don't
like
drink.
it. It's perfect. The Room is like a nice slow wine, and then mad cheese for what Hollywood film.
Mad cheese. Mozzarella.
Stupid.
What?
Okay, so I mean, I thought we'd like go into other stuff, but we've already been at this. I don't even know how long we've been at this. This has been well.
I don't know.
over an
I
hour.
lost track of time.
Well over an hour, so I guess we'll just call it there. Thank you for listening. Fliz, you can catch me on Twitch. These other guys should stream, but they don't. But we'll still give them credit. Go follow.
Streaming's for losers. That's why.
I quit everything.
Professionals stream.
Yeah.
Professionals.
Yep, professional streamer Flizoat.
Shit.
A stamp on them. It's got license.
Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Kyler, Mr. Strider, and Mr. Soon. Hopefully we'll get you all back for the next one,
Oh yeah.
depending on time and whatnot. I know there's no like schedule, so it's whatever.
Whenever it happens.
But yeah, that's it.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mwah.